Hey folks, Jang here, behind the camera, from ultimaterc.com with another user and viewer requested video. In this one, it is a RC painting tips video, and I'm going to be looking at the topic of getting a flat or matte finish on your RC bodies. Now, obviously the problem with RC bodies is that they are Lexan and they are clear, and we paint them on the inside, which leaves the outside all glossy and beautiful because that's the actual surface of the original Lexan itself. So if you want something that's not shiny for some reason, the very material that the body is made out of is your biggest enemy. Well, one thing that you can do to solve that is to go ahead and wet sand the outside of the body. I've seen it done. It takes forever, and it's very difficult to get it to look consistent and even all the way around. I do not recommend doing that. So we move on to other options for what you can do. First of all, the simplest one is to use paint from Tamiya called Flat Clear PS55. And this stuff is basically a dull coat that's specially formulated for Lexan bodies, polycarbonate bodies, and you just spray that onto the outside of your body, preferably masking off anything that you do not want to become flat. For instance, you would want to mask off your windows because you don't want those to look like they are wet sanded. And the results of that comes out looking like this body here, and you can just see that, you know, it's kind of a semi-gloss, right? It's not really flat. This one only has one coat of that on it. If you put another coat of it on there, you will get it to be a little bit more dull. And the idea that Tamiya had with this particular paint is to have a scale wet sanded look. If you were to take a photograph of something that was painted with that flat clear paint, then it would look fairly realistic. That is by far the simplest way to do it. I've seen a lot of people trying to answer this question of how to get flat outside color by saying, well, you just take your regular RC paint that you would paint on the inside and instead paint it on the outside. Unfortunately, with most RC paints, that's just not going to get you the result that you desire. For instance, this body right here was painted on the inside with black. So imagine that this is the outside of your body. That's the surface that you're going to get. It's still semi-gloss. It's actually pretty glossy. I mean, it's pretty shiny. That is definitely not the sort of result that you want. Some paints are formulated a little bit differently. Fluorescence especially will come out looking a lot more flat than this. Also, if you hold your paint can way far away and you do just a light mist, let that dry, do another light mist, let that dry, it'll start to build up just small particles that have not connected to each other. It'll look better, but still, that's not the ultimate answer. The best way to go about it, I have found, is to paint on the outside with something other than RC paint. But to get to that point, first of all, what you're looking at here has been painted on the inside and on the outside. And I've actually sanded down part of it for weathering, but if you look back here, this is just the plain surface as it came out. There are some steps that are required to get to this point. I'm going to show you that this right here, which is so matte, I mean, it looks like a primer. Maybe that's because it is a primer. That is an automotive primer from Rust-Oleum. The cap is actually kind of a medium charcoal gray, and it comes out just a very flat, almost black, like a very dark gray. You can also use just a regular flat black primer, flat black enamel. I found that primer tends to stick better, but all that stuff will not stick to regular Lexan. You need to first put down a layer of your proper Lexan or polycarbonate formulated paint first. Use that as an undercoat. Actually use that as a Lexan primer. Then you can come back with your non-RC, with your enamel, or even a lacquer, just a regular paint that you get from the hardware store or from the automotive store. You can follow up with that. Here's another thing that you can do to actually help improve the durability of the, well, not so much the durability of the paint, but how long that it will last before you really just feel like getting rid of it because it's chipped off too much. Anytime you paint on the outside, if you roll over, you're going to do damage to the paint. It's going to start to chip through. But if you back the paint, if you back the body with roughly the same color on the inside as you did on the outside, then you're not going to be able to see the holes and the scratches quite so much. So imagine if there was a bit of paint that was completely scraped off or flaked off right here from impact after impact. If there was nothing behind there, you just see right through it. And that's not going to look good. Back that instead with proper, again, RC specific, Lexan specific, polycarbonate specific paint, and you will have sort of an automatic patch. So you end up doing 3 coats, well, not necessarily 3 coats, it can be more than 3 coats, but 3 layers. 1 layer on the inside, which is your polycarbonate specific paint as a backer, so that if stuff chips off, you won't see the holes quite so easily. Then you put down 1 layer again of the RC specific paint, but on the outside, being sure to mask the windows both from the inside and the outside. You'll have to do one of them with custom masks because you don't want to get any paint inside or outside on the windows. And then your final coat will be on the outside with something like this. Just a regular enamel will be fine, something you get from the hardware store, automotive shop, and you put that on the top. Note that that paint will take a lot longer to dry, but when you're done, you come out with a nice flat finish. Here's one last technique that I want to show you, or actually not a technique, but just a different type of paint. This is a runner body. This is body number 2 from the Major, my TT01 Drifter project. If you look at this fairly closely, you can see that it really has a rough texture to it, and just running your finger over it, it feels like worn down emery board or a medium sandpaper almost. And that is textured paint. You can get textured paint from your hardware store, generally not from the automotive store as much, but from the hardware store you can find textured paint with different textures to it. There are crackles, there are kind of a fine granite. This is just a medium, fairly even texture over this, and this is painted on the outside first with your proper Tamiya Lexan specific paint, and then I came back with I believe it was Krylon in this case. Rust-Oleum makes some also for just use around the home and on furniture, and especially outdoor furniture. Final thing, one other thing I didn't mention is if you only want one area of your body, let's say you're doing something with a convertible top, and the convertible top is molded in up on your RC body, you only want to get that part flat. Go to my channel and look for my other RC painting tips videos, and you will find one that is giving you a tip about using your overspray film as a mask. So that's that. Hope that that was a useful bit of information for you in general about how to get a flat look for your RC bodies on the outside. Doing it with black is a lot more easy than with other colors, because matching colors between RC paints and non-RC paints is sometimes a little bit tricky. But regardless, have fun with it, experiment a little bit, try using different layers of things. It's a lot of fun, and you can get a lot of different effects out of it. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you have not already, and you will be able to see more tips videos and product reviews and all that good stuff as it comes up here on YouTube. And if you have tips of your own that you want to share, you want to ask questions about other tips, anything related to RCs, be sure to post them up in the friendly forums at ultimaterc.com. Thanks for watching.